Welcome to Return to Athens. Today we go inside the main stadium. The Flame continues its global tour. And a world record in our lead-up series. All that and more as we return to Athens. Firstly, it wasn't that long ago that people outside of Athens, when speaking about the main stadium, were overheard to use statements such as, "They'll never make it," and "It can't be done." But for all you doubters out there, take a look. And although there is still plenty to do inside the stadium, Games organisers ATHOC now hope the setbacks and construction troubles which have dogged the stadium's preparations are finally behind them. The Olympics' main venue went on display for the first time to near unanimous praise from spectators and athletes stunned by an extraordinary turn for the better in Games preparations. The reason for all the hype was that the stadium played host to its first athletics test event with the start of the Greek National Championships. One of the premier men's track events is the 400 metres. The national champion, Anastios Goussos, won in a time of 45.97. Second place going to Yorgos Dupas in 46.35. Third was Yorgos Economindis in 46.59. And for those of you who like positive omens, the current Olympic 200 metre champion, Kostas Kadiris, won the first ever race held under Athens' new roof, coming home in 10.72 seconds in his 100 metre heat. Meanwhile, out in the centre, while work continued on the stadium, workers concentrating on attaching panels to the enormous roof wings, the women's discus was won by Ekaterini Vagoli with an impressive throw of 67.72 metres. Look out for her in August. Back on track, and the women's 100 metres saw another impressive performance by a local athlete, Katerina Tanu, taking the event in a time of 11.22 seconds. And in the women's long jump event, Giannalu Kafetsi took home the gold medal with a leap of 6.65 metres. Not all has gone to plan, however. In an attempt to get the outside of the stadium completed before the day when the cauldron is lit, plans for landscaping the area with trees and flowers have been scrapped, although massive efforts are being made to complete a new entrance road. To lead up events, and while Athens was hosting her national championships, Bergen, Norway's second largest city, hosted the opening meet of the IAAF's Golden League series. And putting herself right in medal contention was Elvan Abeylagasi, formerly of Ethiopia but now running for Turkey, by breaking the 7-year-old women's world 5,000 metres record. The 21-year-old ran most of the race on her own to clock 14 minutes 24.68 seconds, easily inside the previous mark of 14:28.09 set by Bo Jiang of China in 1997. Also in gold medal form was Ethiopian long-distance runner Kenenisa Bekele and American pole vaulter Stacey Dragila, who both also broke world records. Bobby George is hoping to achieve her ambition of taking home India's first athletics medal. While currently training to break the 7-metre barrier, she is primarily focused on simply winning a medal.
7 metre I can do any time, but the gold, we can get only in Olympics that day. So if I am doing 7 metre and getting a gold, I am happy.
Anju is currently ranked 4th in the world and took the bronze medal at the World Championships in Paris last year, making the city her training base as part of her preparations. Her coach is positive about her chances.
Actually, she has got all the abilities, height-wise, weight-wise, all athletic concerned. She is very good built. She can do near about 7 meters, maybe more, but she can get a medal.
We love you.
The closest India has come to winning an athletics medal was at the 1960 Rome Games, where Mika Singh started as favourite for the men's 400 metres, but sadly finished 4th, missing a medal by 0.1 of a second despite finishing inside the then world record.
You're not really being generous, I must say.
To an update on the torch relay, and the flame arrived in South Korea for the 3rd leg of the 6-week relay. Lee Yun-taek, president of the Korean Olympic Committee, kicked off the marathon after holding the torch together with Greek ambassador to Seoul, Konstantin Drakakis. The torch had arrived from Tokyo by a chartered jet to the city of Incheon before travelling to the capital, Seoul, who played host to the 1988 Games. The torch was taken to Olympic Park in eastern Seoul to begin a 48-kilometre torch relay through the South Korean capital to its final destination, City Hall. South Korean Olympic marathon heroes Hwang Young-cho and Lee Bong-ju were among the 120 torchbearers. Also carrying the torch was disabled runner Kim Yi-jin, who suffers from a visual disability, running her leg with her guide dog alongside. Next, the torch departed for Beijing, the venue for the 2008 Games, to continue its 78,000-kilometre journey. And the Olympic flame finished its relay across the next host city by being taken from Tiananmen Square to the Summer Palace, the first time that the flame has been to the Chinese capital.
It's okay. Away.
A total of 148 athletes carried the torch on a 55-kilometre route. They included the wheelchair-bound Sang Lan, the former national pommel horse champion who was sadly paralysed at a gymnastics event in the United States in 1998. To conclude the run in Beijing, local basketball star Yao Ming, who is currently playing in the NBA and will return to play for his nation in Athens, ran the final leg into the Summer Palace. Later in return to Athens, more news on the torch relay as it arrives on the African continent for the first time. Sprinters Tim Montgomery, Christy Gaines, Michelle Collins, along with Elvin Harrison, have all been accused of doping violations. Unusually, not by failing a drug test, but by documentary evidence, and look set to be barred from the IAAF Grand Prix meetings. The unusual step taken by the American anti-doping agency known as USADA.
THC was made in America, used in America, discovered in America. You know, it's an American problem, and the United States has had to say, hey, we can't just sit around now pointing our fingers at other countries. I think they've taken it on board pretty well. I think the new leadership in the U.S. Olympic Committee has done a dramatic turnaround. I don't know whether they've convinced USA Track and Field of anything, but they certainly have punched them in the nose.
While Marion Jones was not among the athletes accused of possible drug violations, she received a letter from the agency asking follow-up questions.
If they're going to try and take someone's livelihood away based on what somebody says, I mean, that just sounds, and I would hope to all of you, it just sounds, you know, wrong. You know, it sounds wrong, and if they try and do that, trust me, it'll be It'll be a long process.
Arrant nonsense. Anybody who's raising that is saying, if you don't catch me with a positive test, you can't convict me of doping. It's not. You can admit that's proof. I can watch you administer stuff and say to somebody, I saw you do this, and if I'm a credible witness, that's proof.
Football and the draw for both the men's and women's competition.
We have 10 teams for the first time. It was first decided that the 10 teams will be divided in 2 groups of 3 teams, Group E and Group F, and 1 group of 4 teams, Group G.
Japan saw a strong contingent of media at the draw, with hopes that both the men's and women's teams will do well after a strong showing at the last World Cup.
The first team of Pot 2 is Japan. And Japan will be positioned in E2 with Sweden.
Japanese women's football must improve, so it's very important to good performance in Olympic Games. Yeah.
The People's Republic of China will be positioned with Germany in the position F2.
Germany, the current world and European champions, are among the favourites, along with the United States.
And Brazil will be positioned in G3.
The host nation had contrasting fortunes in both the men's and women's draw.
China and Mexico.
The men's team have a wide-open group with South Korea, Mali and Mexico, while the women face the twin powerhouses of Brazil and the United States. The Greek women also have a potential grudge match against previous hosts Australia.
Japan.
Favourite for the men's tournament include Italy, Argentina, Portugal and South Korea. Football will spread nationwide with preliminary matches in the cities of Thessaloniki, Patras, Volos and in Crete. Iraq faces tough opposition in the latest leg of their Olympic soccer odyssey after a draw which pits them against Portugal, Morocco and Costa Rica.
Iraq. And I want at that moment to say congratulations to the footballers in Iraq.
The Iraqi national team unexpectedly reached Athens after a dramatic 3-1 win over Saudi Arabia.
We will face some difficulties with the team of Portugal, because they're from Europe and they have a lot of experience for football. And with Morocco, I think. But I'm sure and I am optimistic about our national Olympic team. They will get it. I'm sure about that.
Indian tennis players Leander Paes and Mahesh Bhupathi have been reunited for the Games after personal differences had led the pair to split. India's top tennis player of yesteryear feels, although they are the favourites for Athens, a lack of pre-match practice might pose problems.
I definitely think they are one of the favourites to win in Athens Olympics. They are definitely one of the favourites because they are good players. But they have not been playing with each other too much. They have been playing with different partners and all. So considering that, I think they have got a good chance and I hope they win the tournament. It will be a big thing for, Indian sports.
Paes and Bhupathi realised they had an uncanny chemistry while representing India in a Davis Cup tie in 1996. However, by the start of 2000, their relationship had soured, missing Sydney.
Well, both of them, they combine well because one has very good reflexes and one has very good return of serve. Leander's got very good at the net, he's very good reflexes and good hands, while Mahesh has a good serve and a good return of serve. And they sort of complement each other.
If the two can recover their previous form, they're almost certain medal winners. In 1999, they became the hottest property on the doubles circuit, winning the French Open and Wimbledon titles. The Olympic torch arrived at its final Asian destination, with New Delhi becoming the 6th city to receive the flame. The flame was transferred to the torch under the majestic 800-year-old Qutub Minar, a 73-metre sandstone tower, before the 33-kilometre run through the city. As many as 105 runners carried the torch in New Delhi, which was also part of the global torch relay for the 1964 Tokyo Games. Ace shooters Anjali Bhagwat, Yaspal Rana, along with weightlifter Kanam Malaswari, cricketers Rahul Dravid, Irfan Pathan, Virender Sehwag and former Indian cricket captain Kapil Dev and legendary athlete Mika Singh amongst the prominent torchbearers. Former men's 400 metres runner Singh, India's most revered athlete, and markswoman Anjali Vedpathak Bhagwat given the honour of running the final legs before the relay culminated with a celebration at the National Stadium, venue of the inaugural Asian Games in 1951. The flame will travel next to Cairo for its African leg. Lead-up news from the pool, and Libby Lenton is looking everything a medal prospect. The Australian winning the 100-metre freestyle event in Barcelona on the Mare Nostrum circuit. Lenton's time, 54.56 seconds, less than a second outside of her all-time world best. Another Australian, Shane Reese, second, with Hanna Maria Sapala of Finland third. Yana Klochkova also hot in the water. The Ukrainian, another world record holder, took the honours in the women's 400-metre individual medley. Plenty of quality on show in the breaststroke events. Liesl Jones is the world record holder over 100 metres. Jones took victory in a time of 1 minute 7.44, ahead of compatriot Sarah Kotsoulis. Another world record holder in the men's event, another winner here in Spain. Kazuki Kitajima took the honours thanks to his 1 minute 1.11 seconds mark. In the men's 400-metre freestyle, Massimiliano Rossellino, with the second fastest time in the world this year, shown no respect by his rivals, finished fourth. Takashi Matsuda of Japan taking victory in a time of 3 minutes 50.73. Continuing with torch relay news, and 2,500 spectators in the Egyptian capital Cairo cheered as Egyptian businessman Mohamed Nosser came into view carrying the torch, while younger members of the crowd broke away to run alongside him. Egyptians welcomed the Olympic torch on its first visit to the country, with flags, dancing and Arabic pop music in the heart of Cairo. A large contingent of police kept watch over the crowd as the torch was placed on a stand in Liberation Square, while traditional dancers and musicians performed around it during a 30-minute break. People came from all over the African continent to run with the flame.
I was here today to carry the Olympic torch. That is, the Olympics game is coming on in Athens. So I wanted to play table tennis for my country, Ghana, in Athens. So I was here to hold the Olympic torch for the Olympics committee today.
The 103 runners in Egypt would each carry the torch for around 300 metres, taking it a total distance of around 34 kilometres to the Flames' overnight stopover. Moreover, there was no other fitting place to conclude the Flames' journey than at the Pyramids, where around 1,000 people gathered to see an official from the local Olympic Committee and the final runner light a cauldron by the ancient monuments. The torch now travels on to Cape Town in South Africa for the second part of its African leg, before going to Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. To our in-profile series, and the Cuban boxing team continue to train at their Havana base with the hope of producing another string of wins in August.
Already my preparation is going pretty well, and I think I'm going to try to retain my title of Olympic champion in Athens.
Under the guidance of the renowned Alcides Segarra, Cuba has been bringing home Olympic medals in boxing for years now, boasting 27 champions since Munich.
We have won a series of events that allow us to be certain that our team is preparing well. Of course, knowing always that the opposition is also preparing. But we're giving them the strict message that we're getting ready to obtain those 11 medals.
The Boxers Training Centre, the Albin Quesada, is world-renowned. The famous gym has overseen the training of 27 Olympic champions and 59 world champions.
To be an emblem of the National Boxing School, that carries a big responsibility. I have the commitment and the duty to give Cuba a gold medal.
The school, set up in 1964, trains boxers without modern machines or technological wizardry to assist them in their exercise regime. Instead, the boxers train with traditional punching bags and truck tyres. Only males participate in boxing and they must be at least 17 years of age, but no older than 34. In boxing, the fighters compete according to their respective weight category, with a bout lasting 4 rounds of 2 minutes each, with a 1-minute break between each. The match decided by knockout or on points, a point given when the athlete hits his opponent at the front part of the head or on the upper part of the body above the belt line. Finally this week, the flame is symbolic of all the Olympic values, and on the flame's journey to South Africa, no man better represents these values than former South African President Nelson Mandela. Mandela stepped out of retirement to carry the Olympic flame on Robben Island, his prison for 18 years. Mandela was one of 125 athletes and celebrities to carry the torch through Cape Town and the barren, windswept island.
And to a very large extent, Robben Island is a place with which I identify. And I'm very happy, therefore, that an honour like this has been given to Robben Island.
Former national soccer captain and Leeds United player Lucas Radibi completed the 58-kilometre course that wound through the city. Time now for us to end this edition. Remember to keep watching Return to Athens as we bring you the latest in the behind-the-scenes news and views in the lead-up to Athens 2004.